pause and pick what you really want and what you really need. What you really, really need. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't help it. It's inside a joke. Inside a joke right now.
Okay. Okay.
Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. But I think it's important that we do pause and that we do stop to digest all of the pieces of these things so that we then know what to do with what we've learned. So that was good.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. And I think that is really taking our time, and like I said, as a what emotional baggage, right? Because it's good we have those conversations, but also just looking at ourselves and holding up that mirror and saying, what is that thing that I bring to the table from an emotional baggage standpoint? Because we all have something, whether we want to admit or not, because life is just full of trauma. And not everything traumatized you, but there are some things that you go, why do I show up this way in relationships? And then I think, my opinion, especially if you've gone through a serious relationship, marriage, a divorce, there's other things that you go, yeah, no, I don't know if I would do that again, or if I would do it again, these are the stipulations. And it looks different than when you were young and in love. Now you're like, I'm older, I'm more seasoned. I'm not sure if I could show up that way. And if I do, how do I remove this emotional baggage? So enough of me chit chatting here. Let's go into, what is choosingtherapy.com talk about when it relates to emotional baggage, Lady Dawn?
All right. Well, good segue. It says while daily stress from job duties, relationship, or family stressors or other factors can be distressing, there is usually a recent reason causing the stress. So, what is emotional baggage and how is it different from regular stress? Emotional baggage comes from something you experienced in the past that has not been fully dealt with. I want to read that again. Emotional baggage comes from something you experienced in the past that has not been fully dealt with, such as a breakup from last year or a history of childhood trauma. Emotional baggage is the same as unprocessed trauma. Although the term emotional baggage has a much more negative connotation.
Hmm.
So that is a whole mouthful, but it's good information, giving language to the differences between the emotional baggage versus unprocessed trauma. Oh, it's the same. It says it's the same as it, but I think that's good for
Yes.
clarity.
Yeah. And when you think about that, it says experience from the past that has not been fully dealt with. Because a lot of times we say, I've dealt with it. But is our saying that means I have not allowed anyone to get close enough to take it to the next level? Right? Because I can say, oh no, you're not going to, because we great. You're not going to disturb my peace.
Right, that part. We do hold
But
on.
when I allow you in, do I push you out because I've only protected, and I'm gonna just use this as an example, level 1 or level 2, but 3 and 4, I have put a shield around
Hmm.
and not fully allowed someone to tap into that area of my life.
Well, I think that, and I love what you said because we use that term so much about not disturbing my peace, but in retrospect or just giving thought, it dawns on me that actually our peace is already disturbed. It's already disturbed because because we haven't fully dealt with whatever it is that we've experienced, whatever we've experienced. So is that really peace that we're having? or is it just a piece of peace or the beginning
Mm,
of peace? Because true peace, you won't have to. I feel like true peace, you won't have to protect so much. You won't be so guarded because peace is going to do what it does on its own, which is, and I don't hate to go, but go in Bibles, peace is going to be still. It's going to show up and do what it does and cause everything else, to fall in place or fall off. So,
mm.
that's my thought.
But I want to just go right there. You said something is going to fall in place or fall off. Is the issue sometimes with the emotional baggage? We don't want things to fall off. We want it to fall in place when we know it should fall off.
Ma'am. Yeah. Because I think it gets down to the point of, or I feel, I'm not gonna say I feel it gets down to the point of us being truthful with ourselves. Because the root of us not really getting to that place of, we don't want it to fall, we want to fall in place, but not necessarily fall off, is because we don't want to get down to the truth of the matter with us. It takes a lot for us to admit this person hurt me, or I allowed this person to hurt me, or I chose to, like, I don't see red flags, I see a whole carnival, and I still choose, I choose to go to the carnival. I buy all the tickets for all the rides, and then it's not the trip that I expected. It's that piece of us that doesn't want to admit that we put ourselves in harm's way. So for me, I feel, y'all see, I had some coffee today, so I'm ready.
I think the thing about that, I thought about, I just took the kids to a carnival not too long ago. And when you said buy the tickets, no, I bought the wristband so they can ride all day. It just made me think like we'd be like, nah, I don't want the tickets. Give me the whole wristband. So every time I could keep riding the same ride that's hurting me for free. You
Right.
know, and
But
it's not going to cost nothing, but it is costing you something. It cost you to purchase that wristband that you knew was going to expire quicker or sooner than you. It's one thing when you already know this is not going to work, but I'm going to make it work, you
right.
know, versus um, I bought this, I bought a year pass to Great Adventures or whatever it is. So I like that analogy. Again, I'm gonna say tonight, if you're watching, please do me a favor and smash that like button for me. It is truly appreciated because that one little hit for you means much to us. So Anay said, everyone, please gently. Listen, I don't care if you do it gently, if you do it harshly, just do it. Press the like button. When you have a moment, that was so nice of her. I'm asking, can you do it now, please and thank you.
Right. Just don't smash it off to the point where you can't tap it again, because we need you to come back and tap
Right,
it.
we're gonna need you to come right and don't be mad at us. So
Right.
let's think about. So I thought about Eric. I mean Von Eric. He said blessings all. So and Bravo with Sheila says this is good already. So the hope is going to get gooder and gooder. I know it's not a word, but we're going to say it anyway. Gail said, good evening, ladies. Hey, sis. Thank you for joining us. And Kathy said, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Kathy. We thank you for always watching. And here we go again. Aloha. You don't even say it right.
Right.
Aloha
Practicing.
to the family.
Practicing.
Hope you hope hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Yes, we had a wonderful 15 days after Juneteenth. Thank you. Um, Von Eric said, I use my hammer. I don't know what that means. All righty.
On the button.
Okay. Don't, oh, he smashed it. No, we don't want you to smash it. We want you to just gently hit it. Delaney said, supporting you tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Delaney. All right. So there's this stigma around our baggage and therapy, especially in Black and Brown communities. So examples of emotional baggage can be grief, lack of trust, guilt, abandonment, regret, insecurity, unresolved anger, and lack of self esteem. Now, that's like a lot. Um, but I think it's important to look at things and identify like where are the areas that I'm carrying my baggage, right? Because grief, guilt, lack of trust, abandonment, regret, insecurities, unresolved anger, and lack of self esteem. You know, in the chat, I'm going to ask if any of these resonate with you as something, put it in the chat. So while they're putting it in the chat, I'm going to go first. I'm going to be the brave soul and
Come on.
talk about, yeah, I'm gonna come through. So I need a healing and a deliverance to be able to say, here is where I am. So I looked at these and I thought to myself, I said, where are you? Where are you, Elaine? Um, one of the things that I saw was abandonment, lack of trust, and regret. Those are the three things that I identified for myself. And then I had to go like, why do I feel abandoned? And it happened at a different stage. So I know it talked about childhood trauma, but my fear, or not fear, but my abandonment issues came around. My father passed away when I was 22. My mother passed away when I was like in my 40s. And I remember after she died, I cried and I cried and I said, I'm an orphan.
Mm.
I felt alone. I was like, there's no one who's going to have your back like your mother or your father. And now I have neither. And so I felt abandoned. And I remember just feeling like, well, if I love people too much, they're going to leave. And I don't mean leave and walk out the door. It was like they're going to die. So if I don't love you too much, and if something happens, then I won't be that attached and I won't feel abandoned. And that was a
Hmm.
real thought because it was okay as long as I still had one parent. They knew life without me. I didn't know life without them. So that was the first thing that I had to like really go in and say, okay. And then the regret. I had to think about well, I'm gonna go to lack of trust. I I had people who said they loved me but did things contrary, or their love didn't show up in the way that I thought it should have. Now, I later learned people love differently. And when I say love differently, not that they didn't love me, but they didn't love me the way that I needed to be loved, that I felt safe with their love. Does that make sense? And even
Yeah.
if it doesn't, it's mine, right?
That part.
Again, for those of you that's coming in, we're talking about what's your baggage. So we're focusing on emotional baggage, and I'm sharing some of mine, and regret. And regret was about, choices that I made. Maybe it was in my youth or in my adulthood. Like, man, if I had just did this instead of that, if I had just, you just think of, or I thought about those things, and I know all things work together for the best and all of that. But sometimes you sit and be like, if I had said yes to this one and no to that one, or no to that one and yes to this one, life would look different. What about you, Lady Dawn?
Oh, well now. In being honest, I have tapped into all of these with the exception of one, which is regret. I have to be really honest. I really do not regret anything. My favorable decisions as well as my unfavorable decisions. And the reason why I don't regret anything is because I learned something from every experience. So um, that's the one out of all of them that I have not touched on. But the main one for me, in all honesty, was abandonment. And I, like you, in a similar fashion, experienced the abandonment from my father. My parents were married forever and a day. They were married without a marriage, you know. And when I was 16, he left. I remember just watching his clothes dwindle in his closet until one day they just weren't there anymore. There was no shoes on the bottom. There was no belts hanging on the side. And I remember I sat in his closet on the floor and just cried, and really just cried. So that is something that stuck with me for a really long time. And it put in my mentality that if my father could walk away, and I know my father loved me, I know he did, but it gave me left the taste in my mouth and the stick and the stamp on my life that if my father, who birthed me and raised me and took care of me, could just walk away like it's nothing, then why would any other man stay? When things got hard, like why would they? And then it made me question what love really looks like. Like if that's the result of knowing that you love, because I really know that my father did love me. But if you loving me that way means that I have to deal with this on the other end, I don't want it. I
Wow.
don't want it. I'd rather have, good times, no emotional connection, so that when you leave, not if you leave, but when you leave, I don't have to feel this. So that was a lot of, and I did bring that with me into a lot of relationships. And in some senses, and I'm being honest, even at this point in life, I'm cognizant of that. So I try not to, when I feel those thoughts coming up as I start to get close to someone in a relationship, it's a battle for me. And I have to calm myself. I have to center myself and say, that's not now. This is not them, and it's not the same. So that's been like the major one for me. Um, I didn't really deal with insecurity too much. Um, I would say the unresolved anger came from the abandonment. It's almost like one thing triggered the other. Then it was the grief of not having that love of my dad and my dad's presence. So that was a relationship
Okay.
that I had to grieve, you know, um, which led to a lack of self-esteem because I'm thinking, well, dang, am I not enough? Like, I'm the whole apple of your eye, sir. Like what we doing? All of a sudden, you was cheering for me at my concerts when I'm singing, and now I can't even find your sock in the drawer. Like, what's happening? So,
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But we work through it. So those are mine.
Link you want to, we will drop the link if someone wants to come up, but if anyone in the chat wants to say, you know what, here's an area in which I'm dealing, I feel like this, if you can't call it out, then it's hard for you to heal in that area, because I said you can't heal what you conceal. So if
What's
I keep that thing buried, like, no, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, then I'm not ready for that healing in my soul, because my soul needs healing. And for those that are spiritual, they're like, oh, all I need is Jesus here. But we are more than just a spirit. So that soul realm needs to be healed. Our heart needs to be healed. Um, I thought about even like the trust, right? And I said, like, the emotional baggage I bring is trust. Will keep, can you keep your word? Because I'm a person, if I say to you tomorrow at 4, you can bank on everything. Tomorrow at 4, I'm going to be there. So when you don't keep your word to me,
mm-hmm.
that's huge. That's a huge one for me. Um, and if someone said, like, I can remember when I was younger, I was like, and when I say younger, I mean like teenager, revenge. I would be like, oh, I'm gonna get you back. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but I'm gonna
That's,
get you back.
that's why we twins. We waited out.
And that was the old me, the younger version of me. Like when you would say, what would you tell your younger self? The older me doesn't want revenge. I will go into isolation mode to review and probably overanalyze the situation before speaking to the person directly, which for me, it was like that was growth and that's maturity. Um, where before everything was going up here and this brain was calculating when, how, and what the outcome is going to be and how much it's going to hurt you as much as you hurt. It's the thing they make Lifetime movies about.
That part. That part.
But that was, like I said, that's the old version. And the
Reformed.
younger, yes, reformed, absolutely, because you hurt my heart. And that's the thing, it's like our heart is caged. When we think about how the body is, it is caged, it's covered, and that's what we look for people to do, is to cover our hearts. And when that doesn't happen, it makes us harden our hearts, I think. But again, we're going to drop the link. If we can drop the link, if people want to come on, I see some conversations. I see let's see, let's talk to some people. Kay Kim, she says, I'm so glad I made it tonight. Good to see you, ladies. Thank you.
Kim.
And Sharon Lockley, she said, hello, ladies. So, I got to say the Lockley sisters are in the house. And Trisselle, this is Trisselle, she said, I learned from all experiences. However, lack of trust is one. Okay. And then she says, yes, I can relate. And then she says, yes, guarding your heart, and it's definitely having people want the best for you, because sometimes you can be in a crowd, it could be your girlfriends, and you think everybody wants the best for you. And then you realize, no, they did not. You could be in a relationship, I don't know why what came to mind in my brain is I'm thinking about Carrie, the movie. Yeah. Carrie thought they wanted the best for her. Asked the most popular guy, asked her to the prom and all of this other stuff. But you saw Carrie had like my younger thoughts. Carrie said, all right, you're playing with the wrong one.
Right. Which is what you don't want. This the smoke you don't want. Right.
But I just think about that to say how many times people play with people's emotions like you have. And I think I seen a quote. It says, if you leave them be, because they were minding their business and you came in to interrupt their life with no intentions, but take up space.
Yeah, we can't
So,
have that. we can't
all right.
can't have the gap fillers and the space occupiers, the man space.
Unless we mutually agree. Yeah, unless you mutually agree, this is what we're doing until something else comes along. But if not, and one person is thinking one thing and the other person is thinking something else, then we need to be honest with that. So let's talk about childhood experiences um, and developmental factors. So, as adults, we are greatly influenced by early life experiences. If any of those experiences was traumatic, it can stay with us as unresolved trauma. We talk a lot about trauma. Experiencing adverse childhood experiences can greatly increase chances of emotional baggage. So again, I'm going to say hit that like button. If you're on, smash it, hammer it, whatever you need to do, please and thank you. So a traumatic event and loss is experiencing loss and trauma can impact someone greatly. If they do not receive the tools to cope with these things, it can show up as unresolved emotional baggage. I think like wow and wow, because sometimes we experience this loss and we act like I'm okay, I'm good, I'm good. The loss of a relationship, the loss of a marriage, the loss of, because loss isn't, or grief doesn't always happen because of the death, the physical death of someone. It can be the death of the relationship that you now carry this unresolved issues. What if maybe I could have done this better? Maybe if I had just done this instead of that, and not accepting like or purchasing the wristband when you should have just got a few tickets.
Mm-hmm. That
And
part.
so, for those of you that don't understand, we were talking about the Ferris wheel. And when you go to the amusement park, you buy the tickets or you buy the wristband so that you can have it all day, or season passes. Um, and we have to look at that. Hey, Dr. Shayna, we see she's here. Let's get her comment up. She says, Unveiling Grace became my therapy and honest journey of unpacking trauma and reclaiming peace. Losing my mom was the most painful experience I've ever felt and still feel daily. Writing helped me. Well, thank you. And I can definitely relate, because I said it's nothing like having the person that has known you all your life and one day you don't have that person there, and being able to say, now, how do I love people? Because I don't know how. I remember dating when my dad died. The gentleman that I was dating at the time, I was so mean to him. And not because I didn't, at that time, I didn't love him. It was because I kept thinking, when you love people too much, they die. So if I'm mean to you, you won't die.
Mm-hmm.
But that was how I was resolving, instead of saying, I'm really hurt. Again, I didn't feel like, I didn't have the vocabulary then. I'm really hurt. I don't know how to process this, because it was the first time somebody that close had ever died. Right. And so I'm going to keep pushing you away so that if something happened to you, it won't hurt as much.
That's the real
So
thing.
this talks about painful breakup and romantic conflict. So this is where it's going to get gooder and gooder. Experiencing a painful breakup can lead to breakup grief. If you have not worked through this before starting a new relationship, I'm going to say it again. If you have not worked through this before starting a new relationship, you may end up bringing into your current relationship as emotional baggage. You will end up bringing it into your current relationship as emotional baggage. I think everyone on here can honestly say we have all gotten to a new relationship without unpacking the old stuff. I have. What about you, Lady Dawn?
Oh, I certainly have done the rebound, relationships, experiences, encounters, all of the above, and then some, um, without pausing to reflect. My mentality was, oh well, it's already broken and it's on the floor, so um, well, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna take it to the
Come
street.
on.
Y'all know me. I'm just gonna say, here we go, right? They say it is in the street. Don't blame me. They say the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else, and that's what we do, a lot of times. Not even so much physically, but the way we get over what just happened to us is to get underneath the covering of someone else. To I'm gonna find a replacement for the love that I just lost, for the feelings that I just lost, for
Uh-oh, right. That's true.
that. But these are the things, but it's the truth, and we operate in that so very often as our first response to what has happened, because we don't want to
Mm.
acknowledge that this happened, because again, that means I have to self-reflect. That means I have to sit in it, as Pastor Sheila says, and walk it out in shoe leather, and nobody wants to do that, because your feet, our feet are too fragile, but it's the only way that we learn how to experience. So yeah, I've done that, and I've been there. I'm reformed now, so I don't, because why, Pastor Sheila said, when nothing changes, nothing changes. So I had to change. I had to change my responses.
Bravo, what Sheila said. I lived that same experience, Dr. Elaine. Thank you for somebody, listen. This is the things that we do, and what we want to do on this show is saying, how do we change the behavior? Because when we're hurt, we retaliate. I think about, Beyonce said it. to the left, right? Something happens. That was our Many Women theme song. I could get another you in a minute. But why would I want another you if I'm getting rid of you?
Because we got the wristband to the park. That's what.
I could get on a different ride in the same park. So I keep picking up the same person in a different name. All right. Dr. Shana says healing doesn't come from avoiding pain, but from honoring it. In stillness, we find strength. In sorrow, we uncover truth. If I would like to get under we're gonna have a show called The Dating Game. We're gonna get some singles up here and do the dating game.
Let's do it.
Oh gosh, I love it. I love it. Kathy says, blessings to you, Vaughn. Delaney says, being a truant in the 11th grade, I overcame it by getting a high school diploma 9 months early, a BA, an MBA. It still haunts me. I still feel I lost friendships and experiences I should have had in high school. Well, I mean, that's true. And I'm laughing because, Delaney gave us his background. He might, if he's single, he could be up on this dating game. He done told us he got a BA to MBA, so he know how to handle business. All right. So
All right
let's
now.
see. Tricelle said, laugh out loud. Listen, we never know how this show going to go. We went from unpacking our bags to probably going on a trip. Who knows?
With a wristband.
To an all-inclusive. No.
We know this is somebody somewhere.
Laughter is good medicine. So we want to look at a clip. We want to be able to say, like, let's kind of look at how some things go in a relationship, or they can go when we talk about emotional baggage.
Asking these questions, how do you feel? She's like, I feel uncomfortable. I said, you know why? Because he's helping. We as women, we ask for certain things and we're really not ready for that. And I asked her that. I said, when he's asking these questions, how do you feel? She's like, I feel uncomfortable. I said, you know why? Because he's helping you heal from your traumas. When you have a partner, a real partner, y'all both coming in traumatically broken. We're all coming from all angles of life. No one's walking in this life perfect. That doesn't exist. When you're both bringing your baggage, it's whether or not that one person is dumping all their baggage on you and you just trying to put it all in your bag, or you both dumping it together and you're sorting it out. That's what you need to, that's the partner you need. Your partner is going to help you sort, not just sit there like, I ain't cleaning up and walking away. Because realistically, we all traumatically have been passed down something. And when you get with somebody, that comes out.
All right. All right. So now, Lady Dawn, she said something there. You're going to get with someone who's going to help you sort. What are your thoughts?
That is the part of the clip that hit the hardest. I love that part. It really made me pause. And because she made the point about, dumping it. You with someone who we're going to dump it together, like you said, and sort it out. That's the type of person you want to be with, not the person who says, I'm not cleaning it up. I'm not helping you with whatever your issues are. And that's what happens, I think, a lot of times. But let me backtrack. We need to go into it knowing that we're both needing help from each other. I need you to help me. I've healed as much as I can on my own. And now I need you to help me through the balance of this so I can have a new sensory memory. Because what I went through before, this is all I remember. And this is all that I know. And this is what I remember this feels like. And it takes work. We have to be willing to take that time with someone to love them through, or even just be their friend through the balance of their healing till they come out on the other side. What I've found is that often we are not that way because we want to be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. So we want someone to be completely healed so that they can focus on us and we don't have to necessarily, And because you're already healed, there's no work for me to do. So now all the attention is on me. You're filling my pot. Um, and that's not a good balance. That's almost like a leech type mentality, if you ask me.
Mm,
You know,
wow.
and I want to be with someone who wants to. I've started at this big old age going into relationships saying, listen, I don't want you to impress me. I don't want to hear all the other accolades. I don't want to, like, I'm so desensitized. It's numbing and it works my nerves. Like, I don't try to do the impression and all of it because that's not the real you. It's not the real things that we deal with day to day. I really want to know, what are your issues? What do you struggle with? What
Mm,
makes you feel uncomfortable? And it may seem a lot to start in a relationship, but that's my introduction to saying to you, hey, I want to be able to sit with you and help you sort out, like she's saying, what it is. And in turn, when you share with me, it creates a space of trust and safety for me to say, hey, this is mine. This is what I deal with, and I can be honest with it. And then we can see if we have the capacity to walk each other through it, or how far before we have to start to stretch our capacity. So that's I love that.
I love that. When you even talked about the leech, I was like, are you going to help me sort, or are you going to try to suck me dry? You know, because I think that's what happens. And the person that'll help you sort is so rare, because it's like when like, man, there's a comfort here. And I don't mean comfort because you're trauma bonding, but they're
Mhm.
like patient with you in areas that you just be like, I know I would drive somebody else nuts. And this person is just like, it's okay. Or vice versa. With that person, you're able to say, okay, this is what we need to do. It's not judgment. It's not laughing at you about whatever it may be. And I'll even I'll go back to something Delaney said, dropped out of high school, although he has an MBA now, that being a truant and an 11th grade, he's there of the old Delaney, opposed to what he has accomplished. But that piece of his life, he felt some type of, and I'm going to say regret, that would be a regret, where someone may say, like, man, please, you got over that, or you should get over it. But you can't tell someone when it's time for them to get over it. What you can do is support them in their process. And I think that's what we miss a lot of times, because we say, well, no big deal, but it wasn't you.
Right. And I
Or
think those.
someone said, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, while you were in that space, those are what I call bookmark moments. You know how you put the bookmark in the book to hold the spot, hold the page, so you can go back to it. What happens is we rarely go back to it to deal with it. We'll just start, I'll pick up the next chapter. And like you said, or I'll just start reading another book. So it never gets dealt with and it continues to sit there. And while you can achieve all these wonderful things, you still have to go back and you need someone to help you pull that bookmark out of that place and help you finish that chapter or finish it so that you can move forward freely. That's just what made me think of.
I know they're looking at, we got some talk in the chat, and I want to highlight, hey sis, Brand Your Ministries. She said, that's powerful. Someone to help me sort. I mean, even I gave that example, or went back to Delaney. He had said, he was like, no prom, laugh out loud. But even though he's saying laugh out loud, that was something that sat with him. No prom. You didn't have that same opportunity. And someone else could say, well, prom wasn't a big deal, but you can't tell someone what wasn't a big deal to them.
Right. Don't worry,
All
Delaney. I
right.
didn't go to the prom either. We'll go to
Me
an adult.
neither.
Say we
Right.
having a
We're gonna have an adult prom.
of that. We're gonna get
So I see you didn't go to yours, I didn't go to mine, Delaney. So the three of us, we could just dress up and go out. Um, Dr. Shana says there is a deep injustice in someone consuming another person with all their emotional weight, expecting them to carry what was never theirs to bear. It's not love, it's extraction. Okay. All right. Brand Your Self Ministry says yes, the emotional and mental capacities should be recognized within so that they are able to bond healthily. And this is William Michael Barbie. He says, looking at your partner for their flaws often gives that person a false sense of security where they think they're free from working on themselves. I mean, I think that's kind of debatable, but okay, we'll respect it. Uh, Trissell says, I like that statement too. Help sorting, help growth in growth. Okay. But working on themselves. Okay. Delaney says many dates and parties made up for it, but it still wasn't the prom. It wasn't the prom, but okay.
Oh, now you don't want to go to the prom with us? Is that what you're saying
You don't
now?
want to
Okay.
go with us. That's all right.
All right.
That's all right.
Okay. We're gonna find another. We're gonna find another date. We'll be all right.
Trissell says, I see many couples looking for partners to fix them. Sorting helps growth within a relationship. Right. I think that's so true. It's not that in helping me sort, I'm not asking you to fix me. I'm helping you to say, when you think about laundry, the whites go over here, the colors go over here, the medium. So you know exactly what am I looking for and how do I need to deal with this, opposed to just throwing it all in the laundry and then looking like this is a mess. So, yeah.
And I think sorting helps you both. It helps you to acknowledge still what's there, and it helps the person understand you better, so that you can have a more cohesive, realistic relationship.
And it's also building trust. So we got another person that could go to the prom. Reginald said, I didn't go to mine either. So
And we
we're going to go to the prom in Hawaii.
wow. Oh, bet you want to go now, Elaine. Now you want to come. Now you want to come to the prom. Don't worry. We got a ticket for you. Don't worry.
Kathy says, agree. We should work our issues out together because what we just left behind with the other person should not be the beginning of our new relationship. Yeah. Being able to have that conversation. So many times, I think what you said, Lady Dawn, is that we put up this false, like, oh, I got it all together. And then we start seeing cracks in the armor. And not that we already know that no one is perfect, but being able to say, you know what, these are some things that I struggle with, or this is an area that I need. So it may be something as simple as a person ignoring another person. And the person may say, I didn't ignore you on purpose, but that person has an issue with it. And if you're saying, well, if I call you, I don't need you to call me, but at least acknowledge a text and say, I'll call you back or whatever it is. And opposed to going, yeah, I saw it and I get back to it. Like, no, you don't get to do that to me. Or I don't know, whatever it is, you don't get to do that. And understanding your partner and what looks like respect for them or disrespect for them. And is it something that I can handle or not? I think that's where we need to be honest. You okay, Lady Dawn B? I see you rocking. You had that mother rock on.
I'm fine.
Come on, drop it.
For a moment, I was having an inner experience. This is free. It's freeing my soul. It's freeing.
I see it. So we want to make sure if you're on, I'm not sure how many are watching, but please, we want to make sure that we have just as many likes as we do people in the bleachers and in the free seats. So or in the bushes or wherever you're doing like this or like this, we want to make sure that is being represented here in the numbers. So we do appreciate that, and we appreciate you joining us, but we also would love for you to hit that like button for us. All right. So when we're looking at this emotional baggage, that's why I said this has to be a part 2, because time is almost up. And we're looking from where is it that I want to be? Because I think this is an inside job. I need to first recognize what it is that I'm carrying. And is this a carry on, or does this stuff need to be checked? And then I'm going to pick it up once I land. I'm going to land into this new relationship. And now I got this luggage where you be like, I thought you was only staying for a week, but the bag is so big, it looks like I'm trying to move in.
Mhm.
What are we carrying? How are we carrying it? Being honest with our potential partner, right? Or how long are we hiding it? How about that? Or
Mm,
trying to hide it before it
that's
either
good.
seeps out, stuff start falling out your bag. And you know how you try to roll, I learned the army rolls, right? You keep rolling how much stuff I can get in this bag. And you be like, oh no, it's just a little bag. And like, boom, how come you got 2 months of clothes in here? And it was a weekend bag because you learned how to pack well.
Right. That part.
So is it that guilt I need to recognize? Is it that lack of self-esteem? Is it that lack of trust? Is it I didn't feel seen, heard, or valued? And maybe when I was a kid, maybe when I was an adult, maybe when I was in another relationship, no one listened to me. So I'm looking for everyone not to listen to me. Like, what does that look like? And how do we show up in these relationships? And I'm self, they say put the mirror to yourself. And how do you show up? And the way that you show up, how is it working for you? Is it helping, or is it hurting you because you weren't willing to address? So for me, I was like, I'm gonna be the first partaker of the fruit and say, this is what makes me, this is how I feel. And this is the reason I feel this way. And although I can say it out loud, it doesn't mean it's not going to still show up. I can identify it, but I still may need help working through it. Now, when the preacher tell you, bravo, when Sheila said, that will preach, I learned how to pack well. So when you preach it, just send me the tithe. No. Leslie said, loving this discussion, ladies. Thank you, Leslie, for joining us. All right. Bravo with Sheila. She's laughing at us, or with us, I should say. All right. Don B, any final thoughts? No one wants to come up because we're going to do a part 2. And we're going to, in our part 2, what we're going to talk about some tools that we can actually use in helping us to unpack this emotional baggage that we all carry.
Yeah. I think my final thoughts would really be you surmised everything so well. I would just say that it is important that we embrace acknowledgement, and be
Mm.
honest with yourself about acknowledgement. A lot of us write in pencil because it can be erased, but we need to start using the pen when it comes to our feelings, our positions, our placement, especially when it comes to our emotions, so that you can own it. It doesn't look as pretty when you write it down. It's one thing if it's in my head, but when I put it on paper, it's like it makes it real. And then I have to face it. Um, but when you get to that place of acknowledgement, it's only for your better. And you just deal with one thing at a time, just one thing at a time. I would say make sure you have some safeguards and boundaries, which to me, safeguards and boundaries equal standards. Make
Mm.
sure that
Like
you're
that.
walking, yeah, make sure that you're walking away from this space of acknowledgement with some standards that are realistic for you to uphold. It's not about the other person because no one can break your standards. You have to let them in to do so. But when
Mm.
you develop a standard for you, we show up differently. So I would just say those two things.
Right. Well, we have a few more comments. I know Kathy, we want to acknowledge.
Yes.
Kathy said, for me, it was definitely not being heard. Right. And that's a real thing. If you just in there and someone's just like, just sit down, be quiet, and look, wait a minute, but I got a whole thought, and the person is like, well, that's not what I want you to do. I don't want you to think. I just want you to sit there.
Right.
And William Smith, thank you for joining us. He says, this is educational. Thank you. Uh, we have one more. Uh, Trissell says, looking forward to part 2. That's what we love to hear. Thank you for the invite. Informative takeaway, learning to be honest with myself and how lack of trust made me feel. Well, great. We appreciate that comment, because that is what Mondays Beyond the Mic is. It's about, if I can show up better for me, then I can show up better in a relationship. Not that we're going to be perfect, but what we will be is aware. And if I'm aware of it, I can make you aware of it. And as a result, we will be together than apart. So, again, Lady Dawn B, you can tell them where they can find you on Thursdays.
Oh, well, hey guys, funny thing, you can find me right here every Thursday night at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And me and the Thursday night crew is not as mild as Mondays. Thursdays is like Mondays on steroids. So just be prepared to come in. We keep it all real, 100%, just like we do on Monday nights. But join me at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday night crew. This Thursday, we're doing a part 2 with my good friend and author, Melvin Phillips. He wrote a book called I'm Divorced Now What? So we're going to get to the now what's on the other side of the divorce. So come back on
Well,
Thursday nights. And
all
make sure
right.
you hit that thumbs up and notification. That way you know.
All right. All right. And we're going to bring Melvin over here, because we're going to talk about some dating after divorce on one of these shows. Um, But again, we want to say thank you to everyone for joining us on Mondays Beyond the Mic. We do not take it lightly that you spend an hour with us as we discuss different topics, as we hope that this is helpful for you. I don't know about you, but tonight it helped me to be able to say it out loud, because I think that's what it is. We think about it, but being able to say it and embrace where you are so that you can be better. And we are looking to be better, not bitter. So, again, thank you for joining Mondays Beyond the Mic. Have a great evening and have a wonderful rest of the week. Good night.
Good night.